Hey guys, this girl got game. Welcome back to Hakuoki Edo Blossoms, where we are on this very beautiful boy, Ryoma Sakamoto's route. And I'm very excited to get back into this because I was intrigued and very excited about the possibilities of the trio we have found ourselves part of, which is of course Kyo Shiranui, Ryoma Sakamoto, and ourselves Chizuru Yukimura, off to go stop the Furies, and we're completely away from the Shinsengumi this time around. So it should be interesting to say the least. And yeah, let's get into it. I was trying to remember that new achievement unlocked. Awesome. Yeah, I was trying to remember stuff about Sakamoto. He had very deeply held kind of new beliefs, foreign beliefs to Japan at large. He loved boats. He was very clear in his interest in Chizuru from the beginning. He wrote us love letters. He's very reckless. Chizuru is often having to be more stubborn than him so that he doesn't die. Nakaoka, his friend, and him were at odds last time we saw them. I think Kodo and Kaoru had some kind of plan for Ryoma, and that went sideways. And oh yeah, we actually called Ryoma by his first name at the end of the last game, which was huge, because I think the only other guy we had done that with was Heisuke. So yeah, big stuff. Lots of big exciting things. And let's see what this game recaps for us. Winter 1864. In order to find my father, with whom I'd lost contact, I, Chizuru Yukimura, visited Kyoto. In that city, I bore witness to a horrifying secret hidden within a group called the Shinsengumi, the Fury, a creature with white hair and crimson eyes. Luckily, I was saved from the vicious clutches of the Furies by the men of the Shinsengumi. Also, Ryoma and the Shinsengumi were not exactly pals, so there was a lot of tension there. Because I had discovered the Shinsengumi's secrets, it was proposed that I live with the Shinsengumi men since they were also searching for my father. As such, I was to serve under Hijikata as the commander's page, a role I performed proudly. So thus began my life with the Shinsengumi. I'd heard rumors, well whispers really, that the Shinsengumi was little more than a bunch of crooked ronin, but my life with them proved otherwise. Their commitment to protect the safety of Kyoto made them the last of a dying breed, true samurai. It set them apart from those who only craved power. There he is! During this time, I happened to encounter Ryoma Sakamoto, a ronin serving the Tosa domain in Fushimi. At first, I felt guilty because the Shinsengumi had asked me to come into contact with him, but as I learned more of Sakamoto's personality, I started looking forward to seeing him. Finally, we ended up saving Sakamoto, a wanted man in the shogunate's eyes, from an attempt on his life. I think Kaoru turned him and Nakaoka into Furies. I think, which means they have like the enhanced serum version that the Shinsengumi don't have. I think. However, we didn't make it in time for the attack in Omiya, and Sakamoto, on the verge of death, turned into a Fury. Anti-shogunate sentiments were growing intensely throughout the country, and the war between the shogunate and the Satsuma Choshu seemed inevitable. And then the brief betrayal, where I thought it'd all come together. Also, low-key, he has one of the best new outfits. Western-style outfits. During this time, I reunited with Sakamoto, who was moving about as a Tosa Fury. Nakaoka of the Tosa domain had teamed up with my father, who plotted to overthrow the shogunate. Sakamoto expressed his reluctance to use the Furies, and decided to join me in stopping my father's plan. Eventually, the war ended in favor of the Satsuma Choshu, and Sakamoto and I traveled around the country to chase after my father to eradicate the Furies. You're forgetting somebody very important. Where's my boy? Where's Shiranui in all this? He better not have just left immediately. Although I could see him getting sick of all the lovey-doveyness going on, being like, I'm out of here. Poor Shiranui. We need our gun dueling bros to team up and work together. Trying to remember if we ever saw Ryoma use this sword. I think we did, but seems to be more proficient with his gun. Alright. Sokka on that. Alright, achievement unlocked. January 1868. After retreating from Osaka, the fragments of the shogunate army were nowhere to be seen, granting the Sacho troops a chance to occupy Osaka Castle. After suffering defeat in the Battle of Toba-Fushimi, the shogunate began losing its support, one domain at a time. Our only source of comfort was knowing that foreign countries had pledged not to lend their soldiers to our enemy's cause. At the very least, we were able to avoid the slaughter of our countrymen against the tide of Westerners seeking an opportunity for glory. Meanwhile, Sacho troops were slowly accruing other domains into their alliance, marching toward Edo as a unified imperial army. One by one, domains folded, absorbed by the thickening tide of imperialism as troops marched across the east. It's so interesting to be on the other political side of things. Ryoma and I had returned to Fushimi, taking our time to track the Tosa's movements while we could. A Ronin from Tosa. He was assassinated in Omiya, but survived after being fed the water of life, thus turning him into a fury. No! Shiranui, why did you leave? I was so excited for you, man. Bummer. You better show up some more, man. I swear. Shiranui, on the other hand, had bid us his farewell, leaving us as we departed from Osaka. He couldn't handle the love. He informed us of his wish to intercept the Imperial Army's march, which was all I'd expected.
Man, I was only away for a few days. Kyoto's a different beast now.
Kyoto, once a place we had called home, was now a den of Imperial activity. Oh, right, we never sailed to Edo, so we're still in Kyoto. All of the domains who were observers during the Battle of Toba-Fushimi had turned coat soon after. It wasn't beyond the realm of possibility to expect that they would soon march to Edo as Imperials.
Owari, Kuwana, and Hakone flags, huh? Are the Takagawa and Hideyoshi daimyo meeting up?
Owari? The leader and largest of the three branches of the Takagawa clan, the lord of this domain is higher in rank than the lords of the other two. And Hakone. Hakone is probably in here. There we go. A domain governed by the E clan, who led the cohort of the Takagawa clan's hereditary daimyo.
Sounds like if they don't prove themselves to the Imperials now, that'll jeopardize their power. Guess I can't blame them for turning so easily.
So is betraying the shogunate who used to protect them really the right thing to do? Shock. Considering the precarious situation that the Shinsengumi had found themselves in, the whole thing felt grossly unfair. I couldn't stop myself from snapping at Sakamoto when the subject arose in conversation. For a brief moment, he was taken aback by my candor, but eventually he responded. Squint.
I'm not saying I agree with how the Satsuma and Choshu are doing things, but things have been put into motion. If we fight it, there will be casualties. Those who bow their heads are just trying to save their skins and keep from becoming another body in the pile. A wise move, I'd say. There lies the dilemma. Do you stand up for your beliefs, or protect the lives of your men? Tell me what the right answer is supposed to be.
It was no surprise to me that Ryoma and the Shinsengumi were ideologically opposed in almost every way, but even so, it felt as though he were belittling the Shinsengumi for upholding their convictions, which hurt considering how Toba-Fushimi had gone. I just couldn't bring myself to nod in agreement.
Sheesh, though. Those Tosa soldiers. I thought for sure that they'd go chasing the shogunate army to Edo, but I didn't see a single one of their men join the Eastern Campaign. Wondering where they went off to.
A military campaign organized by Tosa warriors in an effort to overthrow the Tokugawa shogunate. Come to think of it, during the Battle of Toba-Fushimi, the Tosa domain had defected to the Satsuma Choshu. If their intention was to curry favor with the Imperial Army, then it was logical to assume they would join the Satsuma Choshu en route to Edo. Making matters worse, the Tosa soldiers were being led by Nakaoka and his vicious band of Furies. There's that handsome boy! A Tosa Ronin and longtime friend of Ryoma Sakamoto's. After being assassinated in Omiya, he is resurrected as a Fury, then begins to seek revenge upon the shogunate by amassing an army of Furies. I wonder if he's going to be our antagonist. I guess him and Dad, unless Dad's just dead again for, reasons. We're getting all the encyclopedia entries, my goodness.
I'm guessing they're all cooped up in that mansion. I think a little espionage is in order.
Espionage? Wait. You plan on going back to where all of those Furies were? Where they attacked us?
Where else are all those Furies gonna hide?
Well, if Nakaoka and the Furies are in fact there... Shiranui was nowhere close to Fushimi. Without his aid, it was unlikely for us to recreate another narrow escape to safety.
No need to worry. As soon as danger rears its head, I'll make a break for it. Cross my heart.
I was slightly incensed by Sakamoto's patronizing attempt to comfort me. Cheezer's having none of your nonsense, you reckless fool. It was a coy maneuver, but I remained unconvinced.
Just trust me, and stay back at Terada Inn.
An inn located in Fushimi, often frequented by Satsuma and Tosa diplomats and soldiers. It is the site where the protagonist and Ryoma Sakamoto were first introduced. Aw, isn't that sweet? But... I don't like this. As dusk fell, so too did an unsettling chill. It's freezing. I interlaced my fingers and blew warm air into them as Sakamoto shot me a concerned expression.
I told you not to come with me. You're more stubborn than I thought.
Well, it's because whenever you're by yourself, you get yourself into troubling situations.
I'm flattered that you can't get enough of me, but nothing you do is gonna change things, kid.
Well... I mean... saying that's not true is not true. You might have a point, but that's not the I mean, I can't just sit there and pace the floors waiting for you, man. Well, you might have a point, but I can't let you out of my sight. I see how much this means to you, and it's no secret to me how clever you are, but the thought of never seeing you again is a risk I'm not willing to take. Yeah, there you go. What do you think about that? Huh?
Can't let me out of your sight, eh? Well, I guess I'd be remiss not to oblige such a romantic gesture. Always straight to the point, this one is.
What? Wait! I didn't mean it that way!
It's true, though. I'd essentially be turning you away. And what kind of gentleman would ignore a lady in her time of need? Come along, then.
Ugh! It was terribly frustrating every time Ryoma sought to act as cloying as possible, but I do love him so much that I'm actually calling him Ryoma instead of Sakamoto by this point. It was a relief that he wasn't pushing me away from him, and for that I was grateful. Bleh.
Gotta move quickly. If we linger for too long, then we'll draw notice.
Okay. Don't have to tell me twice. An eerie breeze whistled through Fushimi's Tosa domain as I cautiously glanced around the town. There are no lights, nor signs of life. Do you think Nakaoka and his men have already traveled east?
No clue. Gotta sneak in and find out first.
Sneak in? You think we can?
Course. I've got a runner's legs. Best for you to stay put.
My neck tingled as Ryoma playfully stroked my hair. He's so touchy-feely. Goodness. Without another word, he scaled the town's wall and disappeared from sight. Could he actually return to me unscathed? And as anxious thoughts fluttered within, my heart galloped inside of my chest. Guess I'm pacing out here instead of at the inn. Fine. I sat idly by, waiting for him to return when Fushimi's entrance gate creaked as it slid open. My hands tensed as I waited for someone to emerge. Was it Ryoma, or... As I held my breath, poking my head around to get a better look, I saw... Ah.
Chizuru, this way. Coast is clear. Come on.
Ryoma, it's you.
Course it is. They can't kill me twice, you know.
Oh my. I don't think that's true. I think some bad endings may prove that to not be the case, my sir. By now, I had been convinced that Ryoma's sole pleasure in life was worrying me. But having seen him enter the town undetected inspired the faintest bit of hope inside of me, even if I had recognized it to be fleeting. He's such trouble. It looks terrible here.
It's just as messy as we left it. Guess the maid service has been preoccupied since we were last here. I don't sense anyone nearby. I reckon they probably couldn't have gotten too far.
I watched Ryoma grab a hold of his pistol as he carefully slid a nearby door open. Hello? Candles are burning. His eyes darted to a still-lit lantern, which had been left unattended in the corner of the room.
This place is a pigsty, too.
Looks like someone rifled through all of these documents. They've been ripped to shreds. Do you think they could be related somehow to Fury research, or maybe the Water of Life?
Could be.
Surely Nakaoka and my father had attempted to cover their tracks, considering their involvement with the Furies had implicated them entirely. Their conspicuous disappearance from the scene of the crime all but signified their culpability. That they had left with all of this evidence out in the open suggested to me that something troubling was afoot. Sakamoto tensely opened a closet door. I braced myself as it creaked open, and then...
Whoa! Bullets! I'm saved. Fired off so many the other day, I was starting to run low. Ah, perfect. On top of that, there's silver, too.
Silver? Why would you use such a valuable metal?
As it turns out, silver is something of a weakness for Furies, making it harder for us to heal if we get hit by one of these suckers.
Oh. It looks like there's a medicine of some sort inside of here, too. I wonder what it is. Well, if that doesn't signal bloodlust is about to happen, I don't know what will. I was curious how she was going to get the medicine for this. Okay, before we continue, kink predictions. This is the boy that I'm like, legs. Please, somewhere on the leg. Ankle, calf, thigh. He's got to be my Lyato. I swear, if anybody's going to be a Lyato, it's got to be this boy. Right? Tell me I'm not crazy. Come on, Ryoma. I know you got it in you somewhere.
Oh, that.
You know what this is?
Think I've got a batch myself. They look the same to you.
Ryoma rustled his hand in his pocket, pulling from it packets of medicine wrapped in parchment.
Kodo advised me to swallow these if I'm struck with the urge to drink blood. This medicine, allegedly, will do wonders to suppress my bloodlust.
That's interesting, considering Kodo has not seemed to care about the bloodlust of the Furies. He'd rather cart around an entire army to where battles have been fought so they can drink their fill rather than have them use the medicine. So that seems a little strange to me, but we'll ignore that for now. Really? So there's a method to curb your symptoms. As long as we've got this, then we can help other Furies who are suffering, right?
Always such a softie. Can't guarantee it'll work for everyone.
What?
This isn't a cure, kid. Just a temporary dose of treatment to stave the cravings. In fact, I bet the whole batch is bunk, and I'm gonna lose my mind anyway. Gotta track down those wily bastards before that happens, don't we?
A shuddering thought came to mind. If Nakaoka planned on moving a large group of Furies around the country, then surely it would require copious amounts of blood to satiate their collective thirst. Okay, fair enough. So it's like the medicine isn't all that effective, so that's why they're still drinking blood. Gotcha. Dozens, if not hundreds, would be needlessly killed. We were running out of time to save them. Say, do you think any of these documents might yield some clue as to where they went?
Most of these scribbles look illegible, but I think we can figure it out, eh?
Alright, let's get to it then. I began flipping through a shuffled stack of wrinkled documents, trying to identify familiar phrases. These mention Furies, experiments, and methods of blood gathering. My eyes widened as I parsed through the research material in the dimly lit room. Odawara, Sekisho, Kofu Castle. That's all I can make out.
These appear to be instructions from Kodo, or Kaoru Nagamo.
Yeah, there he is. A young girl whom the protagonist had met in Kyoto. She is an acquaintance of Ryoma Sakamoto's and is affiliated with the Tosa domain in some way. Oh, had we not found out yet that he's our brother? Whoops. I had forgotten that. Right, I had forgotten all about Kaoru and Sakamoto knowing each other before. And he wasn't very impressed with. I think he knew that Kaoru was a guy. I think he showed up as a lady when Ryoma and Nakaoka turned into Furies. I think. It's been so long ago.
I know of a Sekisho located in Odawara, but there's a more famous one located in Hakone.
Do you think that's where most of the Furies are headed?
Aye. Appears so. Since that's settled, we should hustle after him. Let's move, Chizuru.
Okay. As I turned my body toward the exit, a strained yelp came from Ryoma's mouth, and he doubled over, visibly distraught. Here we go. Beads of sweat began forming on his forehead as he clawed upon his chest in agony. Oh no! His wavy brunette hair was fading into a stark shade of white. Was this a bout of bloodlust? What should I do? The only thing you can do. Sakamoto, please drink my blood!
Don't be foolish.
That's why you're in pain, isn't it? At this rate, it's only going to worsen.
You think I'd let a lady harm herself for my sake? Just to get over a little stomachache?
As Ryoma screamed out, his face scrunched from pain, and I winced as I watched his veins bulge. I panicked, realizing that the medicine in front of us was, as Sakamoto had put it, a temporary fix. If there seemed to be no better method of suppressing his pain, then I had to. Do the right thing. So I unsheathed my Kodachi and pressed its icy edge against my neck. Oh, come on! It's the thigh, I'm telling you! I knows it! I betted a lot of money on that. Oh! He stopped her, good. Come on, you know what you have to do, Ryoma! You know!
You idiot! I told you to stop!
Upon realizing my intentions, Ryoma tepidly swiped at my Kodachi to grab it, but I was too fast for him. I felt a dull sting from the side of my neck, followed by warm blood oozing out of the cut. Shh. Ryoma, you were so close. Please, Ryoma. Drink my blood before the cut heals. Ryoma shot me an initial dubious look, narrowing his eyes, but eventually... He grabbed a hold of my arm and pulled me in. Oh, you're the forward-facing vampire boy. Okay. I can accept this as a consolation prize, I guess. Hesitant breaths tickled my neck as he gently pulled the collar of my kimono apart. Oh my. Having a man within such an intimate proximity was strange, if not nerve-wracking. The sensation froze me to the spot.
Guess there's no convincing you. If it had come to drinking the blood of a lady, then I would have much preferred to suffer this pain.
Ryoma's whinging preceded his thick lips pressing softly against the fresh cut, and it caused a shiver to travel down my spine. His tongue playfully flecked against my neck, dappling up droplets of blood and gaining speed. I'm sorry. Whatever may have been going through Ryoma's mind was an enigma to me, but one token of solace I could take was that his breathing's frantic rhythm was calming, which was enough to vindicate my decision. I was so sure. Dang it, he was my last hope. Once his breathing was steady and his condition was stable, we left the mansion.
Suppose we should head toward Hakone to follow after Nakaoka, but walking to Odawara is not exactly a stroll in the park. We need to get a horse somewhere.
A horse? How could we manage that? Horses were a luxury afforded to feudal retainers, certainly not a pair of outlaws. If Ryoma, adorned in his western clothes, were to strut on a horse, surely it would draw notice.
I'm sure we'll figure it out. Leave it to me.
You always say that, Ryoma. His optimism bordered foolishness too often. I appreciated, however, his cheer in moments when everything felt grave, and somehow he managed to convince me every time. Hopefully, the outcome would be nothing like Omiya, but I held my breath. I shook my head, trying to fan the memory of that night from mind like smoke from a candle. A horse, eh? I wonder how he's going to procure that little trick. Ryoma, so much... What a butt. After procuring horses, we set out for Hakone. It's not one horse, but 2 horses. There we found the heavily guarded Seikisho, just as Ryoma had described it. By the time of our arrival, the moon had reached its apex in the sky, gleaming softly overhead.
Quiet, isn't it? A little too quiet.
Hey, look! There's a guard over there. That uniform looks Western, doesn't it? Does that mean...
This place has been taken by Imperial forces. Made it too late.
Is it Shiranui? Shiranui, is that you?
Too late? That's putting it lightly. Where the hell have you two been? Enjoying a brief vacation?
Ah! It's... Yeah! It's my boy! Yay! I was startled by a voice calling out to us from atop a thick tree, after which someone leapt down.
Hello, friends. Kept me waiting for a while. I suppose it can't be helped, though, for 2 lovebirds on their honeymoon.
Thanks, Shiranui.
If only. This one's a tough nut to crack.
You're the one who wouldn't drink my blood, excuse you.
Try as I might, she seems immune to my charm.
Ryoma, what are you on about? Enough. So, why are you here, Shiranui? Do you know what happened here?
That I do. Imperial soldiers and a group called the Yugeki Unit got into something of a scuffle here.
I knew it! Ryoma and I glanced at one another out of worry.
It appears the Tosa Domain's got a Fury Corps of their own, But unfortunately, it was a little more than anyone was prepared for, I think. Sadly for them, there weren't enough bodies here to grant them the blood they required.
Any clue as to where Kodo or Nakaoka are?
Beats me. When I'd arrived upon the scene, they somehow managed to scurry away. They slipped out of my notice like rats. Chances are they are hiding somewhere close by, or perhaps within the Sekisho itself.
I see.
Well, I'll be off now. Do as you please, though I expect no less.
With that, Shiranui nodded his head, dashing into the blank darkness through a plume of dust. Great, he's just gonna, like, pop in and out. Sure, that works.
Part of me wants to snoop in the Sekisho, but I bet the Furies are up and hungry. Perhaps tomorrow afternoon will be better. Well, granted, the Tosa Furies can move freely under sunlight now, but heading there at night's a death sentence.
Okay.
If we stick around here, someone from the Sekisho's gonna sniff us out. Let's move.